Today I will be talking about coral, which is a cnidarian. Cnidarians are very diverse and are comprised of four major groups: Anthozoa, Scyphozoa, Cubozoa, and Hydrozoa. Their name cnidaria comes from the Greek word cnidos, which means stinging nettle, which is very fitting for this organism. All cnidarians are armed with stinging cells called nematocysts. Their nematocysts eject barbed threads tipped with poison and are used to capture and subdue prey. Corals in particular are animals in the class Anthozoa. They are separated into coral reef builders, or hard coral, and soft coral. So what is coral? They are found in oceans from tropics to the poles. Some burrow and a very few are found in rivers and freshwater lakes. Coral are radially symmetrical and all have a gastrovascular cavity or a stomach with a single mouth opening with multiple functions, surrounded by stinging tentacles. These invertebrates are composed of three layers: an outer protective epidermis, a middle thick gelatinous substance called mesoglia, and an inner layer called the gastrodermis, whose function is primarily digestive. Most of these animals live in groups of hundreds to thousands of genetically identical polyps, or single corals, that form what is called a colony. Many people often see coral in many different bright colors, shapes, and sizes, which we will later discuss. Along with these characteristics, they can also be hard or soft. Hard coral is considered to be reef-building coral because they extract calcium from seawater and use it to create hardened structures. Soft coral are sea fans, sea feathers, and sea webs, which don't have rock-like skeletons. They instead have wood-like cores for support and fleshy rinds for protection. Another key difference between the two is that soft coral tends to have 8 tentacles per stem that do not secrete calcium carbonate, rather than 6 like hard coral that do secrete. So what exactly is a coral reef? Coral reefs are millions of polyps forming large structures and house numerous other species. They are the largest living structure on the planet and are the only living structure which is visible from space. These animals have evolved on Earth over the past 200 to 300 million years and have developed a form of symbiosis with tiny single-celled plants called zooxanthellae. This algae is found inside each polyp, and they share space, gas exchange, and nutrients with the polyp. They also provide coral with pigmentation, which is why we are able to see so many different variations of color under the sea and above in some cases. Most of their diet is obtained from zooxanthellae. However, they can also fish. They can extend their tentacles out from their body, wave them in the water current where they might encounter small fish, plankton, or other small food items. The cnidoblasts, or stinging cells, stun or kill the prey before passing it into their mouth. They do this by embedding their cnidoblasts into the tissue of the prey and injecting them with immobilizing toxins. Coral reefs reproduce on average once or twice a year. They can reproduce asexually and sexually. In asexual reproduction, new clonal polyps bud off from the parent polyps to begin new colonies. However, most of all hard corals produce male and or female gametes. They reproduce by releasing large numbers of eggs and sperm into the water to distribute their offspring over a broad geographic area. The reproduction cycle is very specific and is thought to be coordinated down to the day length, rate of temperature change, lunar cues, and sunset. When they reproduce, they often do so in unison and cover very large areas of sea. This can be seen in places such as the Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Australia. Even though they tend to cover a large area, reefs are very slow to grow. They grow in many different ways, a few being branching, which can be primary or secondary, table corals, boulder-like, and may be as small as an egg or as large as a house. They grow optimally in high light, consistent temperature, and moderate wave action. So where are they found? Reef-building corals prefer to grow at depths greater than 30 meters or 100 feet, where the temperature is ideal and there are high light levels. And it is thought that shallow water coral reefs occupy between 284,000 and 512,000 square kilometers of the planet, and that deep water coral occupy even more area. So why study coral? These animals are extremely fragile, and scientists believe they are home to more than 1 million species across the world. They are believed to be some of the most diverse and valuable ecosystems on Earth. Scientists believe that coral is the key to discovering new medicine in the coming years. However, human disturbance has been reported to negatively affect a large portion of the world's coral reefs, and is projected to harm even more in the near future. There is a $100 million commercial value of U.S. fisheries alone from coral reefs each year. Even when humans are not fishing for coral, it is often caught in nets, which can damage them severely. Litter also causes great stress, and in the worst case can prevent them from eating and smother them. Human disturbance has done great damage, yet it is not the only factor as to why we are losing coral. Coral also has natural threats and diseases which it may contract. Coral is threatened by weather, tidal immersions, climate change, and predation. They can recover from some of these traumas, however, after persistent stress, they're not able to survive. One other natural cause that can and are killing coral are diseases. They typically occur in response to stress. Over the last 10 years, given the areas that researchers have studied, the frequency of disease has significantly increased. Through studying these intricate life forms, scientists are better able to track their formation and destruction and research more into what causes both. Through monitoring, research, and restoration, the coral of the world can be protected.